Well, the stadium is pretty full with nervous, I have to say, Hull Kingston Rovers supporters. They're confident, but at the same time, they are anxious, as too are those London Broncos supporters who have made the journey to support their side. And hoping that the Broncos can repeat the sort of nail-biting, nerve-shredding performance that they came up with to win the £1 million game in Toronto last year. Because, Phil Clark, it's going to take, if they are going to upset most people's predictions here tonight, it's going to take something like that from the London Broncos.
You're right, they've thrived on being the underdogs. They did in the £1 million game in Toronto, and they've done for the majority of 2019. But this now goes up a level for a test here. Hull KR high on confidence, having won in the Catalan last weekend, and determined here now not to put them through the pressure of a final game next week. They've been in this situation about 3 years ago. They played a home game against Huddersfield, which could have guaranteed them safety. Instead, they lost by a drop goal, agonisingly close. Danny Brough put that one over for the Huddersfield Giants back then. And Hull KR lost in that £1 million game, but tonight they are clear favourites here. They've got Matt Parcell back in action, which I thought was a good point Brian picked out. Led out by Danny Maguire here.
Danny Maguire accompanied by 5-year-old son Louis, getting a fantastic reception on his final appearance, not just here at this ground, but final home game. One more to go. It could yet be crucial at Salford. If London win here tonight, then that game against Salford next week will be crucial. But Danny Maguire hoping that he can bow out here with a big performance, and one that eases or banishes even relegation for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Well, I think when Hull KR played against London back in June, we saw the game on Sky Sports. If they were guilty of anything, it was being too conservative and that's a very unusual statement to say for a side coached by Tony Smith. I think they'll take more risks tonight, play with greater freedom, and if they do, I think in theory his side, although he looks as relaxed as ever, doesn't he, Danny Ward, smiling and laughing, and that attitude has permeated through to his players this year and put them in the right frame of mind.
Now, I think we've got a bit of a problem because some of the Rovers players are at the wrong end of the field at the moment.
They're too focused on the kick-off, Bill. They've just spotted it now. Tony Smith's thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, lads, switch on. Let's work with the referee. Clapping the hands on the back line, expecting the ball to be kicked to him.
Well, they're all at the right side of the field now at the Hull Kingston Rovers players. Let's hope that's not an omen for them tonight. And London Broncos, they were a bit bewildered by that, to see if 3 or 4 Hull Kingston Rovers just behind them lining up.
He needs a breather, Robbie Mulhern now. He's already run 100 metres.
We're underway. Jordan Abdul gets us underway. And it's Craig Hall underneath that. And what a game this could be. We've had some drama on this field in terms of sudden death, of course. You have to only cast your mind back to 2016 and the £1 million game, when Hull Kingston Rovers suffered the agonies that night against Salford. They don't want a repeat of that, do the Robin supporters.
You'd imagine it being a real physical opening 20 minutes. Matt Parcell behind the play, the ball could be key, looking to get the ball to centre field, but there'll be 2 nervous sides here, and I think that the Hull KR players will want to make sure that they send Danny Maguire out on the right note. And this London side, led by the coach Danny Ward, they'll be here to try and spoil the party.
Well, their defensive effort, we've referenced it already, that big defensive effort to deny Toronto in the £1 million game last year. That is, they're going to have to replicate that sort of performance.
They were absolutely phenomenal. They applied pressure for the full 80 minutes. They got off the line, they did all the little things well. And the majority of this side that's playing tonight, they played in that game. They know how to handle big games like that when you're the underdog.
Well, here is Rhys Williams. London have won big games this season for the first time in their 40-year history. The Broncos have beaten the big 3 of Wigan, Saints and Leeds in the same season. That is evidence of what they have contributed to Super League this year, and yet they still find themselves bottom of the table.
Nice to see for London there. The standoff, Jordan Abdul running at defenders, committing them is the last player. Lamb kicks it up.
Brock Lamb, signed from Sydney Roosters, puts the kick in. Craig Hall underneath that ball then. And London looking to restrict Rovers' return of this.
Be disciplined there, Bill. You've done all the right work. You've got to the kick. You've kicked it into the corner. There's a knock on here. That's why you hear coaches talking about kicking long and defending that next set. Well, you kick long, and all of a sudden you look up, you see that defensive line in front of you. Now,
well, the tackle's complete, and then the ball comes out, so that's why he's called it a knock-on, but he's lost the ball after the tackle's complete. Scrum down's the right call.
I think it might have been stripped, but the call goes against Hull KR. They're going to have to defend their own line. It's a different start to this game for Hull KR. In France, almost 7 days ago, they spread the ball. They made more passes in that first set of 6 than they have done this evening.
Head and feed then to the London Broncos on that Rovers 10-metre line. And already the Robins are under pressure from that error by Ryan Shaw. Here is Kieran Dixon. That's a wild pass from the former Rovers man, and gets a bit of a jeer from his former supporters.
Back up and wait.
Joel Tompkins and Dean Hadley with the tackle. Abdul's pass. Oh, great hands. Brilliant hands. Wonderful opening try for the London Broncos, and it's Matty G who's got it. What handling skills, because it looked as though that pass was going to hit the deck, and somehow they kept it alive. And Matt G gets his 5th Super League try of the season, and that early error from Ryan Shaw, the ball bobbling away from him, produces the first points of the game, and London Broncos have got the start that they must have dreamed of.
well, Danny Ward would have gone into the game saying, look, let's complete high, let's get to the kick, and let's defend. Yeah, Rob Butler's hands was in there, Shaw loses it, but look at this for a pass. He's under pressure, isn't he, Jordan Abdul? He managed to flip the ball away. Great hands, wasn't it, as well, for Brock Lamb? Brilliant, under pressure. You know what you've got to do to get down, get the ball, and Josh Drinkwater was caught in no man's land then.
There was just half a second of hesitation, wasn't there? Wella Haraki went forward. He followed his front row, Rob Mulhern, and then the heels just rocked for Josh Drinkwater, and that was all the opportunity the Broncos needed. Well, they travelled a long way, and they've seen the first try.
Now Kieran Dixon. Very distinctive kicking preparation. And successful. His 71st successful kick of the season, and Danny Ward, there's very rarely not a smile on his face. He is a jovial person. Tony Smith, early days.
Successful kick and a significant try for me. This year London have struggled. It's very often been at the start of both the first and the second half to live with the pace, the intensity, the strength of their opponents. They've generally got stronger as the game's gone on, and they've worked their way into it here. But to start with that first try, you could see what it meant to them. Oh, what a run by Butler.
Rob Butler
There's an injury here for
left
Hadley.
Dean Hadley
seriously
on the
hurt
deck.
his arm there, actually.
You don't like seeing lads get injured, but when your job is to run from the back line, run as hard as you can and win that collision.
And win the 20-metre line as well.
He just absolutely went for it, didn't he? And hopefully Dean Hadley's okay. He goes down, he feels the full force of that run.
I don't know whether that's his shoulder, that. Being a bloke who stood on that back line hundreds of times, the target was the 20-metre line for me. When I was on that back line, I wanted to make the 20-metre line. And as soon as I came into contact with the defender, I wanted to win it. Well, that's exactly what was on the mind of Rob Butler. You could see he wanted to make that 20-metre line, and you could see he wanted to damage the bloke that attempted to tackle him. And unluckily for Dean Hadley, who's had some praise from Tony Smith since he's joined the club, talked about his conditioning, his engine, his efforts. Well, I won't be surprised if that is a shoulder injury that keeps him off for the entire game.
Well, he does the little things right, doesn't he? Just spat the gum shield out. He's getting oxygen now, so it looks like it's a serious injury for him. And he is a quality player, Dean Hadley.
Tell you what, very controlled, composed here treatment by the medical staff. There's no panic, is there? There's a serious injury. They're making sure that they settle him, and they take the right time here now to bring it from the field when everything's right in place. But going back to Rob Butler, I remember when we saw London play Hull KR just a few months ago, he ran with that determination to score a try. It was towards the end of the game there for the London side. He's shown he'll run with the same determination near his own try line as well. What a great season he's had so far for them. Talk about the successes that London have had. His development and rate of improvement has been rapid.
Well, he's a former Medway Dragon. They're very proud of his progress at the Kent club. And thankfully, Dean Hadley is up on his feet. And if it's a stinger, I don't think it's as simple as a stinger.
No, I don't think it is. Not when he's having some oxygen and shakes his head. He's a tough competitor, Dean Hadley. A decent signing from Tony Smith, but when he goes in, his tackle technique, he's hitting like you know when Rob Butler's going to carry the ball. He runs really hard. He braces himself on contact. He's too low for me, Dean Hadley, in that position.
Hadley getting sympathetic applause from the crowd in the main stand as he leaves the field. It's not been a good start then for Hull Kingston Rovers, conceding that early try and then losing their loose forward, Dean Hadley.
Well, them three players who've carried the ball then in Luke Yates, Rob Butler and Eddie Batty, they know that they've got to be really strong in this. Again, he comes up with his second carry in the set. He looks at Rob Mulhern back, but he's met by 4 Hull KR defenders. There he goes again, Eddie Batty.
Eddie Batty, who signed a new deal to stay at the London club, irrespective of what befalls them. And then Brock Lamb gets the kick away. And it's Ryan Shaw who fields it.
I thought the back three were the difference last week against Catalan Dragons away. Craig Hall wasn't available at fullback. Will Dagger was at fullback. Ryan Shaw, Ben Crooks, super impressive in the work they did in both attack and defence.
Here is Mitch Garbett, and Garbett swats aside Batty's challenge. Let's go down quickly to the sideline because Jenna Brooks has got news on Dean Hadley.
Yeah, Bill, it is a very early blow for Hull KR. Dean Hadley, it is a shoulder injury, and I've just been informed it is very unlikely he'll be back.
Move all the way.
Thanks, Jenna. And it's Maguire with the kick, over the top and out on the full. It was Josh Drinkwater, I beg your pardon.
Well, just overcooks it then, doesn't he, Josh Drinkwater? I can feel the pressure on the inside from Ryan Morgan, the centre for the Broncos. Now it just comes back to the place where he kicked it.
Shake of the head from Josh Drinkwater, one of the players who'll be leaving the Hull Kingston Rovers club. Destination not clear.
Okay, yeah.
It's been a trusty left boot for Hull KR. Josh Drinkwater's had a nice combination with Danny Maguire. London Broncos, we're just coming up to 7 minutes. They're winning all the little battles at the minute.
Abdul's pass, and it's Jay Pitts.
2. Move, Joel. Goal 2.
Then Cunningham gets the pass away, and here's Eddie Batty. Low centre of gravity on the London Broncos prop. Here is Butler again.
Do you know, they've got a lot of players moving, haven't they? When the black shirts get the ball, lots of different options. It isn't just one man trying to gain ground.
Now it's Luke Yates with the run. He has been mentioned earlier on this evening, a very good signing. He's missed only 2 games as the former Newcastle Knights man. That ball is claimed well by Ben Crooks, but Crooks then heads back towards his own try line.
And good harassing in defence as well from Jordan Abdul. Good solid line that gets up as well. Last time that they were up here, they forced an error and they scored off the back of it. Nice and compressed.
There's Wella Haraki now. Matt Parcell back in action for Hull Kingston Rovers. That's a boost for them, because I'm sure at one stage when he suffered that shoulder injury against the Leeds Rhinos, ironically, it was the suggestion that he wouldn't be reappearing this season.
He won't be 100%, and you can see him carrying that shoulder a little bit, but he'll do his best to get through this game. He'll have some pain management, and needs must. His side need this win, and his side need him in the ranks as well.
Kieran Dixon doesn't make much progress.
Terrific start for London here. Hull KR, they've lost the ball near their own line, they've kicked poorly. And really, the London side will be delighted if they can maintain the standards. Got to carry on playing as a team, not as individuals.
Batty once more.
Surrender!
Over the halfway line. The London Broncos, who have beaten Rovers this season, albeit nerve-wrackingly, and Brock has broken. Brock all the way! Brock Lamb will get a second try of the night for the London Broncos. The man they recruited from the Sydney Roosters took a bit of a punt on him. He's taken his time to hit his stride. He certainly hit his stride there. And the 22-year-old has left the Hull Kingston Rovers crowd absolutely gobsmacked.
Silenced them, Bill, silenced them. The way that they broke the line, Tony Smith getting some valuable information down to the sideline. I think his side probably needs to focus on making those one-on-one tackles. There's not too much deception. Tez is right, there is lots of action in or around the ball. You can see when Jordan Abdul has the pass, he has the ball, he has a short option, a long option, and the long option is Brock Lamb, who sells a dummy to the fullback, and that's too easy in a game of this magnitude.
There's no communication from Hull KR and Wella Haraki. And I think it was Rob Mulhern. They don't communicate, they go for the same man, the gap opens up. I love a halfback that goes at defensive lines and takes them on and backs themselves.
What a start. What a start for the London Broncos. 10 minutes gone, 10 points on the board. And they hope 2 more to come from the boots of Kieran Dixon. It could be their night.
In off the upright. You asked a question before, Brock Lamb, the halfback for Danny Ward's side, the London Broncos, why Josh Drinkwater was leaving Hull KR. If you look back at all of the tries that Rovers conceded, he's in the frame for many of them. I'm not blaming him individually for that one, but too many tries are conceded around Josh Drinkwater, and they need to tighten up that area for the rest of this game here, as the London Broncos have a real sniff about them tonight.
12-0 up. The visitors, foot of the Super League table, knowing that they have to win here, they have to win their last game at Wakefield if they are to stay in the Betfred Super League. And that despite a phenomenal season. As mentioned, they have claimed some big scalps.
They've been really good. The deception that they have, the direction that they've got in the halves, and the fullback, the likes of Alex Walker. Players and teams are getting picked off now by other sides, and there's another 40-20 attempt.
Abdul's put that 40-20 in, and Crooks. It's Hall who comes across and gets it just in the nick of time, but then it's a good
to make the tackle as well. Third tackle, all the distance, almost the right angle, and he leads the chase as well. He is inspired tonight, Jordan Abdul. Well, this ground, of course, trodden many a time by a great number 6, Roger Millward. And we talked before the game about the importance of Maguire and Jordan Abdul. It will be a standoff that will determine the winner of this game, I feel certain.
Well, there was speculation ahead of the game, wasn't there, about the position Jordan Abdul was in, given that he is joining Hull Kingston Rovers next season, whether he'd be focused. You cannot question his commitment thus far.
100%, you'd back him. Backed him last time that he played the game, he was man of the match, and he started off exactly the same.
Alex Walker, the lanky London Broncos fullback, just turned 24, claims that ball, and here is Kieran Dixon.
Well, if you look at the start of this game, I'm looking at the likes of Batty, I'm looking at the likes of Butler, Matt G, Luke Yates. They're running hard. Look, there's no deception in what they're doing. They're charging onto the ball, they're hitting the ball on the advantage line, and they're picking out the men, they're picking out the targets. Going forward, yeah, he's dominated, but he's attracting 3 players, Eddie Batty.
Here is Lamb. Lamb, ball on the inside. They're always looking for an option.
Well, because Eddie Batty attracted 3 players, then they went back at the man who was a slow retreater.
Paul claims that high kick, and Alex Walker was there waiting for him when the ball came down. Here is Ben Crooks now, but Crooks running into a clutch of London players.
Well, the big question there for the London Broncos, can they keep the pace of this game up for the full 80 minutes? The rotation of the bench is going to be really important when they spell those big fellas in the middle. And they're the ones who are doing all the damage, but runs like that will tire them out from Matt Parcell.
Parcell doing well there. Up to the halfway line. Drinkwater's pass. Now then, Haraki's long ball out wide to Shaw. Shaw has got support on the inside. Oh, ankle tap. Here's Maguire. Maguire loses it. Goes forward to Haraki.
I think there was a few forward passes in that one. Well, Haraki's first one looked a line ball, but Hull KR with, I think that might even be their first chance. Decision from Drinkwater on the last to run it. That was suspicious. And Jimmy Kynhorst, although he's tackled and dealt with, he has Danny Maguire on his shoulder. Is this forward? Hard to tell from that angle, but I felt it instinctively when it was passed.
Well, that was.
Definitely.
It's good effort, though, isn't it, from London to get back and make it uncomfortable for Hull KR when they were brought. They are good signs.
Frustration for the Robins. And for the first time tonight, their supporters find their voice. They've been a bit quiet.
Well, they need
Really,
to find the
the-
shoulders, don't they? They need to find the shoulders and stop London making as much ground as they have here in possession. The Castleford Tigers did that to Hull last night, prevented them from gaining ground from their own half and made lots of meters when they had the ball. Here, another run by Batty.
Eddie Batty really showing up well and able to offload to Cunningham.
Liking it, he's got a good bumper and offload, hasn't he? You're looking for that quick play, you're looking to get on the back of that. Here's Jordan Abdul again.
Abdul manages to get the kick away, and he did well there because he was really squeezed and under pressure.
Well, you take that if you're a London Broncos player now. The forwards have been doing it really tough, and Jordan Abdul, he can sense that maybe some of the bigger players who've been asked to do an awful lot, going north to south, carrying the ball, picking it up, picking out the targets, going.
They've had the ball 8 times, London, haven't made a mistake, obviously scored 2 tries. It's virtually a perfect first 15 minutes to start the match.
Jamie Langley alongside Danny Ward. They know early days yet. It is the best possible start they could have hoped for. Those early tries from Matty G and Brock Lamb. And just giving Hull Kingston Rovers something to think about.
Good shot. Was that Cunningham? Does a decent job of controlling that. They know what this man's like. Mitch Garbutt played well. Beginning of the year, scored a couple of tries from the bench against them, didn't he?
He did, yeah, when they beat them back in February. Here's Parcell looking to referee James Child for some help. Batty struggling to clear the ruck. Parcell frustrated. They are getting a bit frustrated, Rovers. This wasn't in the script. Parcell. Drinkwater's kick. And Walker again. Safe underneath it.
Seemed easy for him, didn't it, to catch that ball then. He wasn't really tested. The youngster's got immense talent. Alex Walker at the back, just trapped in then with Danny Maguire.
Warrington ahead against Wakefield. Early try there at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Saints 12-0 up at Leeds against Huddersfield, I beg your pardon. Here is Rhys Williams.
Some decent play the balls and decent work from the outside backs there in Kieran Dixon and Rhys Williams. Here goes Elliot Kieran again, just helping out the forwards. It is a team performance so far.
Cunningham. It's Brock Lamb. Launches that kick. And Hall comes to collect it and does well because there was a lot of traffic around him.
You've got to be good every time that man gets the ball, Craig Hall. He is disruptive when he's got the ball, he carries it.
Hall's got a knock. Josh Drinkwater just looking a bit frustrated there, looking to his teammates, wondering what was on.
Well, at the minute, Bill, I'd say that there's nothing on for Josh Drinkwater or Danny Maguire. I think that there might have been a crusher tackle there from Kieran Dixon. The referee didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Garbutt is able to offload to Parcell. Maguire bursting through. Cunningham it was with the tackle. They're appealing for everything now, are the Rovers supporters. Daniel Murray. That is a penalty.
It was pretty good, that, wasn't it, from Hull KR? Offloads are good for Hull KR. They react on the front foot when it's a good offload. And the injury to Dean Hadley has meant that there's an early appearance for Mitch Garbutt.
Grabs him first.
A bigger man.
To make the tackle. He does it and then you.
A man able to make that ball available, as the referee, James Child, is just communicating with the hooker, Matt Parcell. He's saying, leave it to me, no back chat.
That kick very nearly didn't find touch. Dixon for a moment thought he might have been able to get to it. It did find touch. So then, opportunity now for Hull Kingston Rovers to strike back. This is the deepest I think they've been in London territory so far. Parcell, Mulhern, Maguire puts the brakes on and is tackled to the ground by Jordan Abdul. Now then, here's Mulhern, drives it in, but Batty stands firm. Butler likewise. Parcell, will he maybe poach one? And the referee has penalised London again.
Well, they're putting themselves under some pressure here. They can't just open the game up for Danny Maguire. Just hands on the ball, trying to slow him down.
Here's Murray now. To the right, underneath those posts. And Drinkwater. Oh, that's a poor pass from Drinkwater. Goes backwards and Shaw is collared by Dixon.
He looks rattled to me, just Drinkwater.
Here is Garbutt now. Winds up for a charge at the London defence. Batty again, pushing his luck. Parcell across the field. Then Maguire comes back on the angle, but he is brought down. It's Luke Yates, second to Danny Houghton in the Super League tackling charts with that tackle. Now they're looking promising. Oh, they're looking promising, and Will Dagger will get first points of the night for the Robins, and he makes it even better, skirting around behind the posts. And that'll calm the nerves in Hull Kingston Rovers supporters. Will Dagger with his second try of the season. And they swept it out to this right-hand side, and London ran out of numbers.
Well, off the back of a couple of penalties, they invited Hull KR to have a couple of cracks at the defensive line. And as soon as they do that, they have the numbers, they have the movement. Eddie Batty on Rob Mulhern, the referee, James Chow penalising them. And you can see that the influence of the likes of Maguire and Joel Tompkins create that space. They had enough defenders as well, I feel, out wide over on the left-hand side, London. But they switched off, and what they have got to do is they've got to make sure that they trade sets. And by giving them the couple of penalties, it just opens up for them.
Well, Danny Maguire came on a short ball, didn't he? He ended up getting tackled. And Josh Drinkwater, who's looked out of sorts, those two tries that were in or around him have rattled him. He came over onto the right, provided that link, and it ended up bearing fruit for Hull KR, who now got themselves in the back in the game. But that will be good for Hull KR and good for Josh Drinkwater.
Sure, that's the extras. Hull Kingston Rovers 6, London 12.
There's an argument to say that this try shouldn't have been allowed, and Hull KR shouldn't have had the ball. If you look, that kick to touch went out 5 metres from the try line. Jimmy Kainos taps it 10 metres from the line. You might say I'm being pedantic, but if you don't apply the rules, then you can tap the ball anywhere. And as Wakefield learned last week, then you've got anarchy, really, haven't you? You should have tapped the ball, and in theory, the rules would say that Hull KR lose possession, and it's a London head and feed because he tapped the ball in the wrong place.
That's right. But I'd be more concerned about the player passing the ball in, being in front of the man taking the free kick.
I hope none of these Hull KR fans are listening to this on Sky Go, and you've got to get from the gantry to your car, Phil, after the game. They're looking for a try, aren't they? They need a try.
You've got to apply the rules. You can't, otherwise you can tap the ball anywhere you like, which obviously isn't part of a sport.
Warrington ahead 10-0 against Wakefield. Salford 6-0 up against Leeds. St Helens 18-0 up against the Huddersfield Giants. And London 12-6 up against Hull Kingston Rovers here in the game that could decide who goes down. Hull Kingston Rovers win and they are safe, and London are relegated. If London can hold on and win this one, then it'll go down to the final weekend. That ball is launched downfield, and Walker does a good job controlling that. Well, gets away from the first challenge, Alex Walker. It was Murray, who was up quickly but didn't make the tackle. Now Dixon weaving, looking for a gap in the defence. There's nothing there. Parcell, Crooks,
Good defence.
and Tompkins make sure of that.
Good defence, because he had a decent run-up as well, didn't he, Kieran Dixon?
And Hull Kingston Rovers now responding. Rhys Williams. Williams weaving his way across, has lost possession. I think it's Haraki who's come up with it.
Well, normally so safe, isn't he, Rhys Williams? But maybe that could be the nerves, the pressure of playing in this big game.
But the right attitude from Haraki. When the ball is on the floor with everything at stake, be the first person to get down on it. It was touched, but Haraki rolled his luck, got down on it and secured possession.
There's a Rovers hand in there in actual fact. Little things. Here's Maguire. Drinkwater. Good defence from Elliot Keir though. Now Maguire for Joel Tompkins. Tompkins ball in one hand. Ben Crooks, and Crooks is tackled. Right edge 10 metres out. Dagger sweeps the ball to Maguire. Maguire, nice kick and well dealt with. Well dealt with by Brock Lamb, who does manage to get out of trouble.
Outstanding. I mean, his catch to set up the first try was amazing there. His catch there to save a try, equally as impressive. And Hull KR have really turned up the intensity and the heat now. You know, they've got to fight their way back into this game because the Broncos have really come with the determination.
Mossy Masoi is out there. Made his 100th Super League appearance last weekend in the victory in Perpignan, did the big front rower.
They've got to control it here, Hull KR players flinging themselves into contact.
Including Mossy Masoi.
Including Mossy Masoi, and referees don't like that.
Well, they've got away with it so far, this set of 6. That's the fifth tackle. And it's Lamb who puts Spook to ball. It's a good kick as well, gets distance on that. Good chase from the Broncos as well.
That is a good kick, but a decent chase. Well, Craig Hall has
that
got
was
nowhere to go.
What a shame. That was a 100-metre set for the London Broncos then.
You get a decent kick away, you get them trapped near their own line, you've got enough numbers, no one's going to really beat you for footwork because of your defenders that you've got either side. Look, you can see the likes of Morgan and G, they're looking okay. You're coming from the side, you go high. That to me is a poor play from Lamb.
And it's more about his footwork. His footwork, his strides are too long. He can't adjust. He can't make those small movements because his strides are too wide. His arms are up far too high, and he just lunges at the player.
There was defenders in front of him. He didn't need to do that, did he? Absolutely didn't need to put that inside pressure on to make him pass the ball. It was covered.
It's ironic because it was his kick that had got them in that great position, and now he's squandered the opportunity as Brock Lamb, and it's allowed Hull Kingston Rovers off the hook. Trailing early on. Here's Joel Tompkins, the home side, but working their way back into the game. Maguire finds Mossy Masoi. G with the tackle. Parcell. Here is Mitch Garbett.
Good tackle. Again getting under the ball, dominating him. I think it was Cunningham.
Dan Hindmarsh is out there for the London Broncos. Rhys Williams has come for that ball. He's lost it. It's gone backwards. Parcell will pick it up. The referee's wiped the tackle count clean, and they should be in here. It's Kinehorst. Kinehorst gets the pass to Haraki. Haraki for sure. Anguish for the London Broncos. The mistake. James Child hasn't avoided the try yet.
He's going to have a look. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff going on. Starting with the challenge. First of all from Rhys Williams. He's got to try straight up. James Child, but who can blame him after the last few weeks for just checking what's gone on?
Well, what they're looking at, Matt Parcell was called offside on the initial kick. He was deemed in front of the kicker, which you can see on the left-hand side of Danny Maguire as he kicks there. He then chases that kick through. Is he played onside? Well, I think he's within the 10 metres there, and he picks the ball up. So I don't think this try will be allowed.
I'm with you, Stuart. It looked like he was stood in front of the man who was kicking the ball. There is a mistake.
The only thing that will put him onside is if the kicker gets in front of him before he gets within the 10 metres. Does that happen? He's definitely in front at that point. For him to be placed back onside, the kicker,
Maguire who kicks it.
yeah, the kicker needs to be in front of him before he gets in the 10 metres, which I don't think he does.
He never does he, Maguire?
Ben Thaler is the video ref, and there's no indication. We're going to look at the grounding, and this one is going to be scratched off. No try by the look of things for Ryan Shaw. Once of the London club, Ryan Shaw made a couple appearances in 2013, but Maguire frustrated.
Well, game of inches, isn't it? And offside. Matt Parcell stood in front of Danny Maguire, who kicked it. And good call from the referee, James Child, to just check that and make sure that that's okay in a game that means so much to both of these sides. You've got to make sure that every decision is right.
So that is a massive let-off. Tony Smith a bit perplexed by that decision, but I don't think there was much doubt about it, was there, Stuart?
Well, not as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's clearly offside. He was actually called by the touch judge straight away. So I was surprised it wasn't actually given straight away.
Salford 12-0 up against the Leeds Rhinos. Wigan are 8-0 up against Wakefield, against Catalan. So much going on tonight. And here's Hindmarsh. So London, coming up to the half-hour mark, retain their 12-6 lead. Lamb has to stretch for that ball. Here is Pitts.
He's getting some attention, Jordan Abdul. He's always taking an extra step, enticing the defender to come towards him.
Lamb again, quick hands, reaches Dixon. Dixon cutting back in field, Kieran Dixon, and he's got speed. He runs into the buffers. The buffers in the shape of Mossy Masoi, but Masoi has taken out one of his own players.
It's Jimmy Kynors, the centre, isn't it?
How did he not, Kieran Dixon, see Mossy Masoi coming towards him? Look at this. He must be thinking, oh,
Dear me.
wow.
But it's poor old Jimmy Kynors who's really copped
He
it.
gets his head caught, doesn't he, in between Dixon and then Mossy Masoi. It's like he gets squashed, crunched, and the size of that man. You wouldn't want him at full floor, would you? And I wonder what point Kieran Dixon realises, I think I've picked the wrong line here.
I could hear his mind from here going, uh-oh.
Well, it's sadly Jimmy Kynors who is down on the ground and needing treatment. The second Hull Kingston Rovers player stricken tonight. We've already seen Dean Hadley taken off with a shoulder injury, and now Jimmy Kynors, who's had a really good debut season for the Robins. He's missed only 3 games. He's scored 6 tries, the former Leeds man.
He scored that wonderful try, didn't he, on the first weekend?
In the derby,
in the derby match.
Well, they're just checking here, I think, for any neck or spinal injury, but I think you'd probably have to leave the field for a head injury assessment at the very least there, the way you see his body roll to one side and then fall back to the ground.
You couldn't really afford to, looking at the bench for Hull KR, couldn't really afford to lose Jimmy Kynors for the duration of the game. Dean Hadley, one of those durable utility players who maybe could have filled in at centre. He's not on the field, so obviously if you take him off,
you might put Chris Atkin to full back, Craig Hall back into the centre and reshuffle that back line that way.
See the stretcher coming on now, which obviously isn't good for Jimmy Kynors, but the try so far in the game, they started off really strongly. Great ball from Brotlam to Matty G. I don't think anyone expected the Broncos to go 2 scores up so early on in the game. And like I said before, I love seeing halfbacks who take on the defensive line. They've turned up with a decent frame of mind, backing themselves that they'll get this game, but then Hull KR get a chance on the back of 2 penalties. They score the try through Ryan Shaw over on the right-hand side. And it seems game on, doesn't it?
As we watch those tries, it seems really smart game plan from Danny Ward to look at the spacings in or around the halfback Josh Drinkwater. Josh Drinkwater would expect more from His bodyguard at the side of him, Wella Huraki, the man in your screen now, who's picked up an injury. He will be the next defender. And you suspect when Tony Smith gets his side in, he'll look to redress that, and Danny Ward will say, let's go back to that and put some pressure on Josh Drinkwater and the defenders, make them jump out, make them stay at his side, too tight, too wide, and let's see what happens.
Tony Smith just agreed a 3-year contract extension with Hull Kingston Rovers, which is an interesting development because he went out of the game and had a spell working in other sports. I mean, he was working, still does, I think, work with the League Managers Association in football, and maybe his enthusiasm at one point had waned, but he's obviously rekindled it.
Maybe time away, freshening him up. He wants to get back into it. He knows he's been involved in rugby league all his life. Changed clubs whenever he's got to them, built clubs up, and that's what this club needs now, from the bottom to the top. That's where they want to go.
Well, he'd be very impressed with one of his opposition players, I would think, so far in the first 27, 28 minutes. Luke Yates there. Terry picked him out before the game. I'd say, along with Morgan Knowles, he'd be a real candidate for the dream team, the best player in his position at the end of the season. He's the top tackler in the game so far, made 27 tackles in 28 minutes and carried the ball as well. He's really been important. London Broncos over the recent years or so have done very well at finding players and helping them to burst on the scene. Sadly, for other teams to pick them up and London not to benefit for too long, but he's been brilliant for them in 2019. He's given them a toughness in the middle of the field, and they'll be hoping here with the concentration, if they stay high, why Jimmy Kynhorst is cared for, that Danny Ward's side can finish this first half as well as they started it.
London, just as Danny Ward and Jamie Langley look on, just keeping themselves loose. Warrington 16, Wakefield 0.
Well, they're keeping themselves focused as well here, and Danny Ward knows that obviously he doesn't want to see Jimmy Kynhorst or Dean Hadley injured and out for a long time, but he does know that it will restrict Tony Smith's substitutions. Both of those players not looking well. So what will happen, I'm sure that this London side will try and speed the game up, play the game at their tempo. And the likes of Hull KR, they'll be looking for the senior players in Danny Maguire, Matt Parcell, Josh Drinkwater, to help them, lead them around, keep them calm. They have had a try chalked off as well. And Matt Parcell was just offside, so it's going to be a good game, this.
I think Hull KR was surprised probably by the pace and intensity with which London started this game. I said they didn't just have single efforts or all determination, but it was the way they played as a team, moving so much movement of men around the man with the ball, and that was too hard for Hull KR to cope with defensively. They couldn't match it, conceded twice, and yet have finally started to get back up to the now. There again, just keeping the heart rates up here as the full medical care is provided for Jimmy Kynhorst.
Kynhorst still being tended to and attached to that spinal board, and then onto the stretcher, and presumably Chris Atkins going to come into action, maybe at full back.
Yeah, like Barry said, yeah, you'd have to move that around, but again, it's not what Tony Smith would have wanted. Chris Atkins has been playing as 9, hasn't he, in the last 4 games, so he would have wanted him around the middle of the field, find himself at full back.
Especially if Matt Parcell isn't fully fit.
Yeah.
You know, if the intention was to, you know, give him a breather.
So he's got to do longer minutes now. Yeah. Matt Parcell will get picked out by the likes of Eddie Batty and Rob Butler, and Chris Atkins, the man who's in the frame now, well, he knows that he's been thrust into this game now, and he'll play out the remaining.
They've had a period here, though, now, haven't they? This is an enforced break. They're all able to bring the heart rate down. Leeds have struck back against Salford there, 6-12 over at Headingley, and the Saints, well, it's not taken long for them, has it, to rack up a significant score over Huddersfield. The disappointment of Wembley, they're trying to put behind them here now and march on to the grand final. Is it the 12th, Saturday the 12th of October in Manchester?
We'll have all the tries from those other games later, hopefully, if we don't run out of time. We've had 2 pretty lengthy stoppages already tonight, Dean Hadley and now Jimmy Kynhorst.
And the fans won't be bothered. As long as Jimmy Kynhorst is okay, the doctors, the physios, and making sure that he's okay, get him off the field. The players will applaud him. You can see all his teammates going up, just tapping him, making sure that he's okay and seeing that he's okay. And the sad thing is for Jimmy Kynhorst, it was off his own teammate, Mossie Masoi, that been physical in the game. He's been at a few players around the ruck area. He's gone in really hard to affect the tackle on Kieran Dixon, but Kieran Dixon's okay. It's Jimmy Kynhorst that leaves the field on a stretcher.
One of 4 rugby-playing brothers. Jimmy Kynhorst, a German international, like those brothers. Well, those two know what it's like. Taken their fair share of bumps and bruises. Jamie Langley and Danny Ward dished them out as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, they certainly have, both of those players. And you can see with James Webster now and Tony Smith just talking to the sideline, seeing what they've got left and who's ready to go, who's feeling okay on the field.
So Hadley's gone.
Jimmy Kynhorst's gone. 2 fresh subs on the bench. The rotation will be there.
We haven't even had half an hour yet.
Hey, you can win a game with 12 men though, isn't it? Let's get obsessed with 2 injuries. Got to get obsessed with tackling and stopping London from scoring. Last play, they went for the power run, didn't they? There.
Nathan Mason is tackled just short.
Oh, Weller Haraki's pulled away from that tackle. Look at him in the background, just stretching his shoulder.
Listen, it takes a lot to put Weller Haraki out of a game.
Oh, he is tough, the 34-year-old. He is a tough competitor, that man.
You talk about the physicality of Mossie Masoi. Well, he's matched by Weller Haraki. Last weekend in France, everybody who was carting the ball up for the Dragons was having a look out the corner of their eye to see where Weller Haraki was.
Here is Mossie Masoi now. And London looking to restrict Hull Kingston Rovers' progress as they try and bring this ball away from deep in their own territory. There's Matt Parcell, Mitch Garbett, 2 of the players coming back tonight for this Robin side after injury. Parcell, here is Mulhern, Yates among the tacklers as ever. Nathan Mason is out there, the Oldham-born front rower. Maguire trying to sell the dummy. Cunningham having none of it. Matty G in there as well to make the tackle. On the last, and the kick is drilled in. It's not a bad one. It's going to sit up, and Walker just had to come for that. Didn't have the legs.
He doesn't put pressure on himself, does he? Alex Walker at the back. Always looks in control of what he's doing. And I've been really impressed with this man this year. I think Rhys Williams, 2nd most carries in Super League, the 3rd most metres. And a tremendous job for the Broncos.
Here's the other wingman, Dixon. Dixon and Williams, 2 very experienced players. St Helens 24-0 up against the Huddersfield Giants. London just over the halfway line. Here is Jordan Abdul. Abdul to Brock Lamb. Lamb's short pass finds Mason. And now it's Cunningham. Lamb puts an angled kick in. Walker is chasing that, and Garbett was sweeping across there.
It's not complicated what London are doing. The forwards early on in the set, if they're in the midfield, they're just carrying the ball hard. Then the half-backs are running at the line. They've got an option inside, outside, and a man out the back. Seems pretty easy for them at the minute, and it seems to be effective as well.
Here is Ben Crooks, a faint cry of London. London away to our left from the small group of Broncos supporters who've made the journey. I know that owner David Hughes is among the crowd, and Steve-O is in there as well, and they'll be anxious now as Parcell breaks and London have to scramble in defence. A good run from the hooker.
It's a great tackle, isn't it? The technique there to control that with 3 men. They've done that particularly well for half an hour now, controlling all of the tackles. They might make similar numbers, but the quality, the effectiveness of London's defence has been a little bit better than that from the Hull KR.
Well, Matt Parcell, everyone knows that if Hull KR can get a quick play of the ball, he has got speed. He gets out, dominates that field position, but then went on his haunches. Whether it was a bit tired or whether he's picked up a knock again, he's not getting involved in this set, just sat in a pocket behind the defensive line.
Get square.
Here is Dixon now.
He's struggling, Matt Parcell. He's hanging his shoulder down.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Matt Parcell injured that shoulder against the Leeds Rhinos in July. Scoring a try, I think it was it in the process of scoring one of his tries? The ball is hoisted high and it's going to be allowed to bounce, and Abdul is going to chase it, but Crooks kept his eye on the ball and runs it back strongly.
And looking to link up as well, wasn't he, straight away? Ben Crooks trying to get some quick rooks here now.
Well, they can't allow Jordan Abdul time to hoof that ball. He's got one of the highest kicks in the game, and that could well be the way to unlock this game. It's been a bit stop-start because of injuries, but London Broncos, they're in the driving seat.
Well, Parcell still operating, keeping it simple. Rob Mulhern now, named in the England night squad. Plays that ball, fifth tackle, and they're running it, and it's Haraki. Gets the ball to Hall. Hall trying to offload, does go backward. Maguire manages to keep it alive, and Hall couldn't take the pass.
I think he managed to kick it before he knocked it on. And then defensively, Hull KR put the player over the back line. Everybody stopped, didn't they, when those series of offloads happened. You can see here Craig Hall runs into the defender, Ryan Morgan, finds a loose, scrappy offload. Danny Maguire speculatively inside, and Craig Hall is adjudged to have kicked that before it hit the floor by the ref.
Well, he's adjudged to have drop-kicked the ball, kicking the ball at the point where the ball hits the ground. So it just about gets away with that.
Oh, does he?
Does it need to be an intentional drop kick?
No.
He's a mile off the post, and it is.
For the purpose of kicking it.
Well, this could prove very, very fortunate for Hull Kingston Rovers. The break they want. They haven't had much luck this evening. Mossy Masoi is driving it over the line, but he is held up. Tony Smith down on the sidelines for the closing minutes of what has been an anxious first half for his side. Two players taken from the field injured, trailing on the scoreboard, but with a great opportunity here now to strike back. Here is Maguire. Maguire fires the pass to Crooks. Crooks offloads. Maguire, lovely silky hands. Abdul with the tackle. Abdul, the man who'll replace him on this ground next season. Here is Will Dagger, scorer of the Rovers try.
Good footwork.
High from Mason, but the penalty awarded.
Well, good footwork, wasn't it? You can see him just change his lanes. Mason goes over the top of him. The man who scored the try, the only try for Hull KR, Will Dagger.
So the pressure really on this Broncos defence now, and Garbutt will try and turn it up. Yates and Cunningham doing the tackling. Parcell. Maguire. Maguire puts the brakes on and he's pounced on by Luke Yates. Here's Parcell once more. Parcell. Garbutt will try and drive towards that line, but Hindmarsh and co do the tackling. Rovers fans on that far side thinking he'd managed to reach the try line. Maguire quickly on. The ball is flicked up into the air to Dagger, and Dagger is pounced on. It was Elliot Keir with the tackle. It's Harem Scarem stuff from Hull Kingston Rovers, hammering at this London defence in the closing minutes of this first half. Mulhern plays the ball. They're going to come to this side. Drinkwater puts the kick in, and Brock Lamb is sweeping round to pick that ball up. London do well to survive there.
Excellent in defence from London, scrambled really well. Brock Lamb spotted what that play was going to be. You could see that they were setting up for it. Put himself in a position to poach that ball.
Been some good performance in this first half so far. The strong contenders for man of the match, but Brock Lamb for me has been impressive. Penalty here now for London. Twice Brock Lamb's managed to get back into the field of play. They haven't conceded goal line dropouts.
That is a really welcome sound of the referee's whistle there.
said the markers weren't square. The men in front of the play the ball. It's an area of the game that a lot of people are looking at at present because they split both sides there, don't they? So that they sort of make it more difficult for players to make ground around that ruck area.
Good time for the London Broncos to get their first penalty of the game. Looking to hold on to this second of the game, Stuart. I beg your pardon.
First one was the video ref call.
So in open play, can you say?
Play, yeah.
Too many experts around here. Here is Jordan Abdul.
Don't look at me.
Oh, Pitts almost burst through the gap there. And they get the penalty just before half-time, and it's like Woodstock. Everybody's wandering around with the peace sign.
Yeah.
Do you remember the days there, Bill?
I saw the Woodstock revisited. That's what I'm talking about.
Strong run, wasn't that, from Jay Pitts? Not in control, Parcell. Penalties awarded, straight in front of the sticks, straight away. Look at them all. Luke Yates in the background thinking, what are all lads putting the fingers up in the air for?
Keep going, guys. Keep going. Mitch, Ross, keep
So
going.
having been under pressure
Joel.
towards the end of this first half, here's an opportunity for Kieran Dixon, who's kicked both the conversions that have been presented to him, to extend the London Broncos lead. And Robin supporters will be thinking this has not been our first half. The injuries, London making the most of every opportunity that's come their way. 2 more points. Don't think they can believe this. 14-6.
No, but it wasn't in the script for the Hull KR fans, but for them fans who've travelled up here, they know, along with that man, that they always had a chance. The commitment to the cause, what they've shown over the last couple of years since Danny Ward's been in control. Tony Smith knows that he's got to give a towering speech at half-time and a rallying call to some of his players.
Rhys Williams underneath the restart. And it's a good return from young Nathan Mason. Well, I say young, he's 25 years old now.
Hold, go. 1. 2.
And London,
Go. 2.
Elliot Keir. But Chris Atkin very quickly up on him.
Play Elliott.
Here's Brock Lamb. Rhys Morgan, and Morgan's had the ball stolen. Now then, final few seconds. Is there time for Hull Kingston Rovers to come up with something? It's going to be the last play of the first half. No is the answer. But that's just a little reminder, probably a timely reminder for London, because that could have been costly with another few seconds on the clock. As it is, London head for the dressing rooms in a 14-6 lead, and not many people anticipated that tonight. Going into this game needing the win to take their Super League survival battle to the final round of the regular season, and they've still got another 40 minutes to endure, but they have defied the experts so far, and Hull Kingston Rovers have endured the agonies.
Well, they say it's a rivalry no other fans can relate to. It is the 9th meeting of MK Dons and AFC Wimbledon. You can see it on the EFL League One on Sky Sports Action tomorrow at 7 p.m. That NFL action coming up for you. The 100th season of NFL, the first NFL Sunday on Sky Sports. Titans are at the Browns, Giants at the Cowboys, and Steelers at the champion Patriots. 5 p.m, 9:15 and 1:10 a.m. all on Sky Sports Action. It's round 28 of the Betfred Super League, a massively important round. Let's bring you round the grounds. The Warrington Wolves. Tries from Darrell Clark, Ben Curry and Josh Charnley, his 16th of the season, give them a 16-0 half-time lead. A double for Bevan French, one of those an 8-point try, gives Wigan a 14-0 lead over the Catalan Dragons. Salford have 14-6 to good over Leeds. St Helens 24-0 over the Huddersfield Giants. Luke Thompson, Dom Peru. Regan Grace with his 19th of the season, and Morgan Knowles, actually Huddersfield late try in that half, 24-6 in that game. Michael Lawrence for the Huddersfield Giants. We're at KCOM Craven Park, where the London Broncos are fighting for their Super League survival, as are Hull Kingston Rovers, and it's the visitors who lead 14-6 at half-time. 2 tries to Hull Kingston Rovers' solitary score. Kieran Dixon with 2 successful conversions and a penalty. Let's give you a look at the half-time match statistics. There is one that jumps out. That is a completion rate of 94% for the London Broncos, who had less possession than Hull Kingston Rovers, but were very efficient with what they had. 9 missed tackles for the Hull Kingston Rovers, and London pretty good defence from both sides in the first half. Let's take you into the dressing rooms, where, as the boys said in the commentary, John Wells, this would not be going according to Tony Smith's script.
No, and it looks to me like they've lost 2 players as well, so that rotation off the bench is going to be affected. That'll play a big part in the second 40 minutes, given that 2 of those bench rotations will now be Mitch Garber and Mossy Masoi, 2 big fellas. Yeah,
no Dean Hadley and no Jimmy Kinehorst. Long delay in that first half as Jimmy Kinehorst was treated and then stretchered off the field. Danny Ward, will he be giving his second to last half-time team talk in Super League, or will we see Danny Ward and London's Broncos back in 2020?
Well, if he will, he'll know full well about that completion rate as well. All these head coaches have the stats at their fingertips. He'll be very, very pleased with that first 40 minutes.
Yeah, what a start from the London Broncos. They came here and exploded into Hull Kingston Rovers. And Danny Ward and his side having a well-earned break at half-time here. Well, they were 12 points up after just 10 minutes in this game, and very worthwhile, very worth that early lead. Great try to start with Matty G crossing first.
Yeah, it was. There was some real slick hands in the build-up as well, something we'll take a bit of a closer look at on the 3rd minute of the game. That beautiful pick and pass from Brock Lamb. G crosses 6-0, as you say, converted by Kieran Dixon. Then Brock Lamb got turned assist to try scorer. 2 dummies in the lead up to this one. That was the second that sent Crooks the wrong way.
The game then moved in favour of Hull Kingston Rovers. They had a break. London Scrambles were able to stop that. They eventually did cross Will Dagger, not crossing in the corner. London may be a bit disappointed that they allowed him to go underneath the post, but this was a period of huge pressure for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Yeah, it was, and just how significant those little moments where Will Dagger goes and improves the angle and makes that a 6-point score. You know, those are things that can change matches of this nature.
Yeah, Dixon's late penalty gives Hull Kingston Rovers, or London, a 14-6 half-time lead. Right in the build-up, we covered Danny Maguire, who's playing his last home game here for Hull Kingston Rovers before he brings the curtain down, perhaps in round 29, on a glorious career. We featured Jordan Abdul, of course, going to join Hull Kingston Rovers from the London Broncos next year. It wasn't those 2 that shone in that first half. You picked out somebody else, John.
Yeah, the half-time focus falls on a man who obviously didn't read the production notes before we started, and that's Brock Lamb. The London Broncos have largely offered the same team in the majority of the rounds. The one significant signing they made this season.
The one gesture from David Hughes to suggest, listen, we're going to have an extra push to try and stay in Super League.
Yeah,
bringing him in.
And he's contributed really well in this first 40 minutes. So the first one is just Jordan Abdul. He does this a lot, and he does it very, very well. He hides behind the ruck at the start of the play and then breaks late. That makes it very difficult for an opposition to effectively account for him in that defensive line, but there's no accounting for that, and that's class. That's really, really class pickup. When you see it from the line, you see just how little he's got to work with there, and that's a knock-on for all money for the majority of players. Yeah, I mean, that's a great try from Matty G. Probably couldn't believe he was going to get into such space. Now, this is Brock Lamb's try, and the lead up to this is a good piece of work from Rhys Williams in the build-on. We talk about stripping a defence. You hear about coaches talking about how to strip an edge of defence. So you look at, and it's
stripping short of numbers. You're talking
about. Exactly. Yeah, it's these guys that we're talking about, and what happens to these guys because of one man, and one man being left on the floor here is Murray. Have a look at what happens. He's last off. He's late back because Rhys Williams is really preparing. Now, the man it affects is Garbutt here. Garbutt now, who was, at some point was going to be able to push off Matty G, is now committed to him and steps in. Now that has a knock-on effect. Again, Murray left at the back of the ruck, and he's not effective in that defensive line. Here he is. Now, as well as that, you've had Jordan Abdul, is what he does extremely well, who moves late. and presents himself.
If I was looking at this, John, I would say it's almost a gathered or a crowded, bunched Hull Kingston Rovers attack. There's not a great deal of width. Dixon just making his way out, but you're going to show me how they eventually get through from this position.
And it's because of what's happened already. And that's you're going to have players now who are beaten by the pass, which otherwise wouldn't happen. So straight away, because the ball is on Abdul now, the player it really affects here is Wella Haraki, because Wella Haraki, who would probably have been able to push off this run from Yates a lot easier than he does, eventually finds the weak spot in the defence, and that is good. Generally speaking, is 3 or 4 man in. Have a look at what happens here. So you've got Haraki now, he has to spend that half a second longer on Yates. He's not able to get out, and Lamb's in the clear. And it's a very, very difficult position for Josh Drinkwater to defend effectively from. Defence effectively stripped by a really proactive London Broncos attack. It was excellent. One other thing that Brock Lamb did, and again, we'll only know the significance of this later, but these are moments that can change games, Brian. We talked about Will Dagger improving the angle underneath the sticks. That's equally as important.
Yeah, the boys made note of that in the commentary. It was a big play defensively from Brock Lamb. In addition to the try he scored and the one he set up, I wonder what Tony Smith has made of that first 40 minutes. Well, here's him speaking to his players. They're going to be down numbers. They're going to have it all to do in the second 40 minutes. London Broncos have their tails up. They did invest a lot of energy in that first half. Danny Ward's side, what have they got? The second half unfolds in front of us here at KCOM Craven Park from round 28 of the Betfred Super League. London fighting for their survival. Same could be said of Hull Kingston Rovers. Bill and the boys are standing by the other side of this break.
Tension is high in East Yorkshire. Hull Kingston Rovers 6, the London Broncos 14, as we prepare to start the second half at Craven Park. Danny Ward's side, are they on course for another major Super League upset this season as they try and salvage their Super League status? Or will Hull Kingston Rovers turn things round as they get the second half underway and put the whole relegation issue to bed once and for all? Robins with 2 players out of action by the look of things, both of them for the remainder of this game, Dean Hadley and Jimmy Kinehorst. So they are up against it in terms of numbers and the draining effect that has on a really emotionally charged night.
And they don't need to change anything, London Broncos. It was a real relaxed changing room. Danny Ward in control. You looked at the Hull KR dressing room, looked like Tony Smith was asking questions of his players that needed answering. And Abdul and his teammates, they get to the end of the set. It was a lower risk set. The forwards carrying the ball strong. They get to the kick. And again, they're going down here and they need to make sure that they defend and they're disciplined. The pressure's certainly on Hull KR playing at home in front of the fans.
And yet you still feel that if Hull Kingston Rovers can get a foothold in this game, then they've got the firepower to really press home their advantage. The Broncos have lost on their last 5 visits to this ground. They haven't won at Craven Park in a Super League fixture since September 2013. Early days in the second half, they lead by 14 points to 6. And they're in possession at the moment with Wella Haraki, fiercely competitive, has really impressed on his debut season with the Robins. The kick is high and towards Rhys Williams' wing. And the busy Welsh international winger, real bundle of energy returning the ball. It's early stages of the second half. Good opportunity to get the halftime news from Jenna Brooks on the sideline.
And Tony Smith is always relaxed, isn't he? Even in the most stressful situations. He says he's happy with some of their defence of that first half, but they need to fight fire with fire. Jimmy Kinehorst will not be coming back. He has suffered a concussion. As far as Danny Ward goes, well, he's always smiling. He says that he's quite happy. There's been different swings of momentum. They need to be more direct, and they'll be starting the second half without Ryan Morgan at London Centre. He is currently having an HIA after showing signs of concussion.
So Ryan Morgan out of action for the London Broncos at the moment. The kick was well claimed at the back by Hull Kingston Rovers.
Well, the first couple of sets for both sides, you can see they're having a run-hard competition, aren't they? There's not too much in terms of flamboyance and flair. It's about head down, backside up, earn the meters and grind your way into this game.
Ryan Morgan's absence means an introduction for the London Broncos' recent recruit, Guy Armitage, former Wasps Rugby Union centre. He's just making the tackle there, in actual fact. Great timing. Brother of England internationals Dylan and Stefan. And getting a chance now. That ball's knocked forward and Jordan Abdul claims it. Jay Pitts captaining this London Broncos side. Missed just 2 games this season. He'd made 69 consecutive appearances for the club after he joined them in 2016. Then got an injury. Wigan really putting it to the Catalan Dragons, who are having a terrible end to the season. And Leeds 12, Salford 14. Leeds narrowing the gap. Jamie Jones-Buchanan on the score sheet. Wakefield fighting back at Warrington, 20 points to 12, the scoreline at the Hallowell Jones Stadium. Saints 30 points to 6 against Huddersfield. The kick comes in and Atkin across to get that one.
Well, they look more of a physical side in this second half, Hull KR, whether they're carrying the ball or defending like we just saw in that last set of 6, and it's up to London now to see if they can do exactly the same. Luke Yates getting involved. Is the ball stripped? Is it lost? The referee says that it was stripped.
You saw that, didn't he? Didn't miss that, James Child. Luke Yates right on cue. As the tackle was made, the ball was available. He has a little tug at it. You can see here some nice touches from the back, from the standing fullback, Chris Atkin. He's had a couple of difficult passes, difficult kicks to deal with. He's done okay so far.
Here's Joel Tompkins now. So good opportunity early in the second half. Mossy Masoi. Good run from him. Here's Mulhern now. The big guns taking it up for Hull Kingston Rovers. Yates again making the tackle. Here's Drinkwater, shows it once, and now they'll give it some width. Maguire, it's on to Atkin, and Atkin, can he stretch out? Can he get the ball down? Referee James Charles says yes he can. And that is what Hull Kingston Rovers needed at the start of the second half. In that corner in front of the Robin supporters, Tony Smith down on the sideline. Salutes Chris Atkin, already picking up a whack on the nose, but already picking up his 3rd try of the season.
Well, what a way to start this second half from Hull KR. A penalty given away by the ever-reliable Luke Yates at the play of the ball. They went upfield, set play just outside the post, the left post at that, and Chris Atkin shows tremendous awareness, composure. He has a good grip and grasp of the ball, keeps it out in front of his body, sells the dummy, keeps it high away from his body because he knows he's going to have to stretch out, and that's a fabulous try.
Well, conceded 2 tries now, London, on the back of 2 penalties. Chris Atkin just getting a bit of attention, but Danny Maguire had a lot of time when he had that ball, and he's got to give a big pat on the back to Ben Crooks, who was the dummy runner that created that 2-on-1 on the outside for Atkin to go through and score. And he gets him right back into this game. The start that Tony Smith and the home fans were after in this second half.
Now Ryan Shaw, has he brought his kicking boots tonight? He's kicked 57 goals so far this season, and he was on target in Perpignan against the Catalan Dragons last time out, and he's on target tonight to narrow the gap. Hull Kingston Rovers 12, London Broncos 14. That's more like it for the Robin supporters.
Well, every team wants a player on the subs bench who, at a push, can play full-back, scrum-half, stand-off or hooker. Chris Atkin has the ability to do all 4, and there are very few players out of over the 350 that we've had in Super League this season who can do it. His versatility has been vital there, being able to slot into that fullback, knowing the line to run, the timing to run at, and making sure now that his side are just 2 points behind their opponents.
Big contribution from Chris Atkin, who ironically is one of the players that Hull Kingston Rovers announced this week will be leaving on his way to Salford by all accounts for next season. Weller Haraki, and you just get the sense now that maybe Salford, we're talking about Hull Kingston Rovers, are going to generate a bit of momentum, and London really going to have their work cut out.
Well, the fans are generating an atmosphere for them to build up, and they're really backing them.
Maguire, deep kick, Walker retreats to collect it almost near his own try line. Great chase,
Tremendous chase from Hulkar. I think he was looking at that sideline, Danny Maguire. But those defenders didn't allow it, didn't care. They were doing their job anyway. And that focus, those small battles that we talked about in the first 15 minutes or so of the first half. And I think London Broncos ran at the players they wanted to. They had the spot defenders in front of them. Josh Drinkwater was a player identified at half-time, but there was a few that the Broncos, as a team, were going at. Well, Hulkar have come out with the attitude, we're not allowing you to do that.
Well, it might have been a relaxed half-time talk from Tony Smith, but it's produced a revved-up performance from his side. The kick, not a good one, sits up nicely for Chris Atkin. And Hull Kingston Rovers pick the ball up almost near their 30-metre line.
I said before, but I think he's asked questions of Matt about going out there and playing. Do you want to take it down to the final week of the season? Do you want to give yourselves a chance? You see Kyle Trout onto the field now for Tony Smith. Markers aren't squaring the play of the ball. The referee trying to work with the players. Told them not to get involved with that then. G, you can see he stood to the side of the play of the ball. Trout steps back into him. The penalty's awarded.
And they're winning the ruck at the minute, Hulkar. The speed of the play of the ball was dictated by the Broncos, by those big men in the middle for large chunks and large parts of that first half, and it swung the other way in the second.
36-6, 36-6. Catalan Dragons, though, their season really fizzling out. They were top 5 contenders at one point.
Move, Luke! Hold. Go.
Well outside the top 5 now. Here is Danny Maguire. Parcell. Garbutt now. Garbutt. Hand in the face of Walker. Just in the shadow of those posts. Kyle Trout. Played Super League with Wakefield earlier in his career. Parcell. Parcell looking for the opportunity, but nothing doing. 4 in the tackle for the London Broncos. Bring down the Rovers hooker. Drinkwater gets the pass away. Short ball, and it was good job Rhys Williams was clinging on. His Will Dagger. Dagger from Maguire. Maguire into the corner. A try out of nothing, really, and Danny Maguire's poacher's instinct gives him the try that puts Hull Kingston Rovers ahead tonight for the first time. Maguire alert to the opportunity, and he edges closer to 1,000 points in Super League. I think he's just one short now, Danny Maguire, after that try, his 4th of this Super League season.
Well, big game playing, isn't he, Danny Maguire? And they thought that they'd blown an opportunity. The message is going down from Danny Ward. But Matt Parcell, when he got up from dummy half, he didn't know what to do. Didn't know whether to give it Josh Drinkwater and Danny Maguire, who were both stood over on the right-hand side. Danny Maguire persisted, called for the play on the right-hand side. Josh Drinkwater goes in behind the play of the ball. A good line from Ben Crooks, and a good offload as well. And a good bit of trickery from Dagger. He goes open field. Maguire spots the space on the outside, and he finishes it. Can he write his own story in this, Danny Maguire? He gets up off the ground, he's tackled, and he's still available. Look at that. There's still some movement in the old lad's legs, isn't there?
It's up top as well, isn't it? Well, it's durability as well, because he was on his backside just a split second before.
And durability throughout his career. He's had so many injuries that kept him out of the game for a length of time, but still racked up 495 appearances tonight.
Shaw from the sidelines misses with that. Holkingston Rovers lead by 16 points, 2-14, and Danny Maguire had a great knack of scoring tries for Leeds against London. 33 he did for the Rhinos down the years.
There's a few London fans perhaps thinking that pass may have been forward. We saw it again, but they've played on and they've taken advantage. They've edged themselves ahead here now with that 2-point lead. And for the last 10 to 12 minutes, I guess Hull KR have just tried harder than they did in the first half. They've run stronger, tackled with more determination, and they are on the front foot. This is a test now. Can London maintain the, stay at the same pace as their opponents?
Passions running high, language getting a bit ripe, potentially. Sorry if you picked up anything offensive. Wakefield coming back against Warrington, 20 points to 16. Of course, Wakefield will be worried about this one as well, because if London win this, then Wakefield are back in the mire. London go to Wakefield last round of the season.
Rob Mulhern's putting in a good shift. Number 8, obviously the rotation, only having 15 fit players will change the way, change the minutes that players play. That ball ricocheted back to Maguire. The referee says that's the turnover.
Yeah, ball wasn't played out. We had a London player in Danny Maguire's vicinity who knew he was offside and stayed out of the play, and Danny Maguire knocks on.
Here's Dan Hindmarsh.
Well, again, in the first half, we'll remember I said there were a lot of black shirts moving around the ball. We've got to make sure that, again, there were 2 waves of lines here. Brock Lamb finds a teammate and G barges forward. Got to continue to play as that team.
Got to have belief still, have the London Broncos. That's never really been in short supply in this Super League season. That's how they have defied the odds and chalked up so many wins.
It is simple what they're doing. They're running at Drinkwater, they're running at Maguire, and they're running at Parcell. Going to those 3 players, making them sweat.
Lamb, that's an interesting kick over the top. And Shaw scrambles back to pick the ball up. Ryan Morgan is back in action.
Well, in the first half, they just made it really uncomfortable for Hull KR by either kicking to the corner, kicking it to near the try line, coming up with a decent set. They go down the short side here, run out of space, makes it difficult for the next one to carry the ball, and Craig Hall just uses the footwork to evade those defenders.
4 tackles gone, though. They're still well inside their own territory. That is the 5th tackle. London doing a good job defensively. Rob Butler back out there. He's had an impressive night. That's a good kick, and Walker is having to scramble across and puts the brakes on to deny Kingston Rovers a 40-20, I think.
Well, restricting them to 31 metres, and you're right, that could have been a 40-20. They were struggling for metres then. They were up against it.
It's a brilliant kick from Danny Maguire. Knew what he wanted to do. And excellent work from Alex Walker.
It's stepped up another level in this second half, hasn't it? You know, there was always going to be a reaction after half-time from Hull KR. Now can this London side go with them, keep going with them.
Jay Pitts, Parcell making the tackle. Brock Lamb's pass, and it was touched by Hall, and Hall furious with himself because he was away. If he'd clung on to that, Lamb took a real chance.
Well, he's renowned for them in the game, isn't he? He goes in, he gets between those 2 attackers, and he just sticks his arm up, makes a play for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't come off for him. And on the back of that now, concede another set of 6 tackles.
But for the Broncos, Matt G again was facing up to Josh Drinkwater. And with him having a go at that, the centre stroke fullback Craig Hall, they'll use that front door now, won't they? The London Broncos, short passes, running at those spot defenders.
I don't think Brock Lamb will be trying that long ball again.
No,
for a while.
Not on that side where Craig Hall is anyway.
He's obviously not watched enough of our game.
I admire his bravery, though. He's tried a chip and chase, which is unconventional. He's tried that long pass there. Obviously need to take some risk, haven't they? You can't win this game playing conservatively.
Matty Fozzard, the Welsh international hooker, is out there. And Rob Butler up to Hull Kingston Rovers' 40-metre line. 3 tackles gone as Butler plays the ball. Here is Brock Lamb. Lamb short pass for Batty, but Batty all wrapped up by Rob Mulhern, the 2 number 8s in opposition there. Here's Jordan Abdul. Abdul, little kick in behind, and across they come, and good sweeping up by Will Dagger. Good hands from Dagger. Here is Ben Crooks.
Well, he had to be on then, didn't he, Dagger, because Jay Pitts was certainly onto that kick then. Got to make sure that you switched on the final plays of the game, because Jordan Abdul has got a nice little kick. Penalty here from London. You can hear from the fans as well. And they relieved. A couple of times in this game they've been done for not being square at marker, which means if they're not square, they're not getting set, which means Hull KR are winning the play of the ball. If your markers can't get set, stay tight in contact, peel off.
Another penalty. Is that their 7th, 8th, 7th for Hull Kingston Rovers in this game? Surely it's going to tell. Parcell. Here is Drinkwater. Maguire, superb quick hands and good catch from Haraki. Slip field and no, says referee James Charr. Haraki can't believe it.
He said a foul pass, hasn't he, rather than a knock-on. The touch judge on the side here. He said that's been thrown forward. Under tremendous pressure, London really, that blitz defence coming in quickly here, look. Brock Lamadis to close it down. That's the call.
Pretty sure Hull KR were asking whether that ball was touched in flight.
No, I think Danny Maguire was trying to say that he hadn't knocked the ball on. He wasn't aware that he'd give the forward pass.
London getting rub of the green there. Nothing wrong with that by the look of things. Rhys Williams plays the ball. Here is Butler. London just inside their own half with Jordan Abdul. Abdul out the back to Lamb, and here is Walker, and Walker almost found the gap. He's lost possession as the Broncos fullback knock on.
They're getting excited about defending. When you see a teammate and he's clapping and he's high-fiving everybody and he's a winger, you know that you're certainly up for this game. And Hull KR do the right thing. They were caught for numbers then. Alex Walker decided not to pass the ball, decided to run, but makes the mistake.
It was excellent play from London Broncos. Numbers fanning forward, and they did have the overlap with players outside, and the decision to keep hold of the ball from Alex Walker probably was a reaction from the attitude in defence from Hull KR.
Here is Garbutt. But the Broncos standing firm. It's good defence from them. Garbutt crabbing sideways across the field. Murray now just inside London Broncos territory as Murray, making his 10th appearance since coming on loan from Salford, plays the ball. Garbutt once more. Parcell. Drinkwater. Here is Maguire. Maguire, lovely ball, time to Dagger. Dagger cuts back infield. Former Castleford Panther, Will Dagger, he was Castleford born. Drinkwater, that's a teasing kick, and great hands from Dixon, and Dixon does so well. Kieran Dixon countering. Dixon, handoff on Drinkwater. Dixon's got the pace, has he? Shaw comes across. What a return. What a return from Kieran Dixon.
Well, that's where he's dangerous, isn't it? In broken play, Kieran Dixon.
Spread it. The other side, they've got them and they've got the numbers. They didn't quite have enough players in shape here. Abdul knows the spice now.
Abdul trying to break through. Gets the pass away for Keir. Keir cuts back across. They've lost a bit of momentum here. Here is Butler. What a great counter this is from the London Broncos. Butler wrestling for it. Tompkins and Butler going at it.
Well, there's elbows, forearms all over the place after that tackle is made. Neither one of those players going to take a backward step. Joel Tompkins for Hull KR. Rob Butler, the number 23, is the player in possession.
Rob,
What was rattling Joel Tompkins' cage?
I think he catches an elbow or a forearm while he's on the floor.
Well, London get the penalty, and then if they do, surely they go for 2 points.
Time off.
If he does catch an elbow or a forearm, doesn't give him the right. There you go. I thought it was, but it doesn't give him the right to throw that punch and react. Very often, the retaliation gets penalised more harshly than the incident itself.
Is that from experience, Barry, speaking there?
It's changed a bit since I played, Phil. You could throw a few.
And it's Tompkins who's getting called out because he threw the punch.
First offence, in my view, is interference in the ruck. And listen, I'm going to speak to him as well. Rob.
Now Rob Butler will get talking to. James Child calmly dealing with this one.
You don't take the law into your own hands. Let me rule it. Okay. Penalty goes against Tompkins. Don't react.
Tompkins, you just can't do it. You can't do it in the game today. You've got to trust the system, hope the referee sees it, and when Rob Butler, who has possession, throws that forearm stroke elbow, you've got to trust the system. And he didn't, he couldn't resist. He threw a punch whilst on the floor.
Well, you look at the first offence there is the high tackle. Then there's a reaction, but the penalty is actually being given for interference in the ruck for not releasing.
I think he's caused problems every time he carries the ball. Butler, he hasn't got a sidestep. He runs straight, he runs hard. He goes straight at the man who's in front of him.
So Dixon has lined up this penalty attempt to level the scores. Are we looking at a golden points relegation decider? He's got it in the air and wide of the target. Kieran Dixon, whose brilliant breakout paved the way.
Well, I speak to a Hull KR fan every week who comes to this ground. He said the win from this end of the ground is always difficult. Playing as Hull KR now, he says, is an advantage at this ground. He's been watching games here for about 30 years. And the win there clearly had an effect on that kick from Kieran Dixon, who's a successful and accurate kick. Oh, what a runner now.
Love it, love it. But you're going to be penalised there, Tompkins, because he's gone in again for the second effort.
What for? The two players that were involved for the penalty, which eventually was interference at the play of the ball, which probably means everything else was okay, apart from the interference at the play of the ball, which is crackers, then run at each other. This was always going to happen.
He's just, Rob Butler, I tell you what, he has been outstanding.
He's allowed to go back in.
Yeah, but I think it's the way he goes back in, Barry, the way he goes back in and swings his arm into.
He's gone back in that forceful because that run is forceful. There's a meeting of minds there, and he goes back in.
He's gone back in there because he's a bit embarrassed.
Yeah, do you know what? You like that from the youngster in Butler. Joel Tompkins has been penalised there for a shoulder charge.
Shoulder charge.
Nothing more than that. All right, okay. All right.
Rochester's Rob Butler is making an impression here in East Hull.
Let me just talk a minute. I know the emotions are high and the stakes are high. We've just got to make sure we keep control. Right. Okay, the penalty is for a shoulder charge, Joe.
Have you watched the replay?
No, I'm not watching
that replay. That cannot be a shoulder charge.
Joe, look. Listen.
But it's pure, it's not a shoulder charge, though, if you watch it.
Listen, I've heard you, but I politely disagree with you, all right? Now let's get control of both players, all right? I don't want players rushing in. It's a penalty. I disagree, though, Joel.
Well, at least Joel Pitts is being polite about his protestation.
Even Jay Pitts.
Jay Pitts didn't have to say anything, did he?
Oh, my Lord.
Well, I wonder where Rob Butler is in this next set, and I wonder where Joel Tompkins is in this next set.
He's going to get the ball here, Butler.
Here he is. Oh, it's Eddie Batty. It's Brock Lamb, and they're running it. They are running it, and G has almost broken through. It was a great ankle tap that stopped his progress. I think it was Josh Drinkwater who just managed to get hold of a bootlace.
He's terrorised him this evening.
Here they come again with Walker. Walker trying to weave his way through. Maguire, little shove on the fullback. Here is Batty now. Looked forward, certainly in the eyes of the Hull Kingston Rovers supporters. Fozzard! Matty Fozzard trying to get to the line, but he is held up just short. 4 tackles gone. Butler was trying to smuggle it over the line, and Mitch Garbutt was having none of it. So on the last, here is Batty. Batty trying for it. That'll be the turnover, and Rovers will stand that assault on their try line.
That wasn't the best decision that Jordan Abdul's ever made there, to throw that pass. He didn't really give Eddie Batty much action. Here's G through, and the tap there from Drinkwater pulls him short of the line. It would have been a fascinating race for the next 15 or 20 metres. Did he have the legs to make it?
42-12. Wigan Warriors lead the Catalan Dragons. And Warrington have nudged ahead, adding a drop goal, 23-16 against Wakefield. St Helens coasting against the Huddersfield Giants, 48-6. Wella Haraki, 15 minutes of this game to go. Hull Kingston Rovers just ahead. Not comfortable. Here is Kyle Trout, signed by Rovers last month to strengthen their squad. Drinkwater. Fozzard, Batty doing the tackling. Maguire gets the kick away under pressure. And it's Walker. He finds Kieran Dixon, and Dixon trying to go on the outside. Shaw stands his ground.
He was looking for more distance on that kick than Danny Maguire, but a good harassment from London, who's certainly doing everything in their powers to get over the try line, to score some more points, to give themselves a lifeline in Super League for next week.
Here is Eddie Batty. 3 tackles gone. Now James Cunningham. Once a Hull FC player, Cunningham, like this man, Jordan Abdul. Abdul kicks her across field. Dixon will chase it, but Atkin well positioned.
A good positioning at the back from Chris Atkin. There's one thing you can't doubt on this London side, is they are very tough.
Well, what do you expect? This is a relegation battle. This is their Super League future.
I said that in the studio before the game, Bill, that players are playing for their livelihoods. They don't know where they're going to be next year. If they get relegated, what happens to the contract? They've got to go out there and give it absolutely everything.
And I think, fair play, they're doing that. And in this second half, Hull Kingston Rovers have matched them, and they lead narrowly. Dixon coolly traps that and then heads back towards the Hull Kingston Rovers ranks.
They need some more points here, Hull. I don't think 2 points is going to be enough.
Especially with 2 of their players out of action.
Yeah, and it has been end-to-end. We've had 15 minutes where both sides are really challenging their opposition.
Here's Elliot Keir, another of the Welsh internationals out there in the London Broncos ranks.
Goal play on, you're contributing.
Eddie Batty. Batty. Well, not so much an offload, but a sort of off fling, that was.
He dumbed it down on the ground. There was no chance of going to catch that ball then.
Move down. Wait.
Gee. Here is Abdul to Dan Hindmarsh.
This is a test here for Abdul. The last 2 decisions at the end of sets haven't been great. He's given responsibility to do something again.
So he goes to the air. He hoists a high kick. Walker is challenging for it. And it's Chris Atkin who's filling the breach at fullback, who claims that ball.
What a game he's had. As Phil talked about his versatility, playing the halves, play at hooker. Tonight he's in at fullback. He's caught everything that's gone high and hanging under pressure. He might have had a lot to deal with bodies and action in front of him, but he's standing up.
Is he one of those players whose versatility sometimes counts against him?
Yeah, but he's the first one you put in your 17 because you know he can cover a number of positions.
Well, there he is. That kick has ricocheted, and it's Dixon who runs it back. Hall stands his ground. Wigan 46, Catalan 12 is a full-time score. Salford have won at Leeds, 20 points to 12. Salford, of course, bidding for third place maybe. Warrington have beaten Wakefield 23-16. Warrington looking to take second. There's so many permutations, as John Wells said before the start of the programme. The only one that's certain is that St Helens are top, and that's where they'll finish, and they've won 48-6 against Huddersfield. Knock on.
That's a big call, because we've seen those go either way. The referee's saying they didn't regain his feet, he didn't have full control, Eddie Batty. But the big Mossy Massoy, the big shadow and the big body of him is all over. See the number 10 in the red and white shirt, all over Eddie Batty. He doesn't regain and regather his feet, and it goes against him.
Ten minutes to go. The tension in the air is just amazing, and reminiscent of that 2016 £1 million game.
And the game before that, wasn't it? Huddersfield the week before, 27-26. Hull KR have been in this situation. The fans have been through this agony before.
It's not good for your nerves being a Hull Kingston Rovers supporter, really.
It's value for money. They've had some excitement in matches this year.
Nails being bitten. Anguish on the face.
Fans are nervous. They're crying out for a penalty from the referee.
Here is Parcell, who has lasted well, Matt Parcell. Maguire determined to sign off in front of these Rover supporters on a winning note. Haraki coming in with the tackle. Parcell down the short side, and the kicking, and it's ricocheting off. Dixon and Walker stood and looked at it. Walker glares at Dixon. What was going on there?
Well, Chris Atkin was on the short side. He's the man who called for it. He kicks it. Ryan Shaw then chases up, and he thinks he's got it, and Alex Walker was just hoping that the ball was going to bounce into his hands. Said, Bill, you're down on the pitch, you've got a jersey on and a pair of boots. You are nervous, games that it's 9 minutes to go, 2 points in it. Wow. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to give a penalty away.
These one-man efforts are one thing, but I think they're going to need more support on there, aren't they?
And the whole the Rovers supporters trying to lift their side. Oh, Mossy Massoy has come in strongly there again on Elliot Keir, and Keir, and he felt that short pass. Yates does well to take that. Elliot Keir looking very groggy indeed after another thumping challenge. That's nice work from Brock Lamb. Eddie Batty. London are not giving this one up. Cunningham. Abdul kicks to the corner. It's not the best kick, and Atkin has been superb since coming on.
Been brave at the back, hasn't he? He's not pressured at all. London challenging the same defenders in the opening 4 players, then all around the middle.
Time off.
There's a problem here. Is it Wella Haraki? It's down on his haunches.
Just going back to that last play for London Broncos, Jordan Abdul had 5 or 6 players outside him. He had options. He went for the high kick. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders. We know where he's going to be next year. We know where he is this year, and he's doing his level best for the 16 blokes at the side of him. Look, there were enough options outside him.
Haraki is back in action. There's nerves in both coaching camps. Tony Smith hoping that this will see off the threat of relegation for the side that he took over from Tim Sheens, and has guided almost to safety, but they're not back home and dry yet.
We'll be hoping to get through this game and rebuild the side over the next few years. Put his stamp on it.
We haven't mentioned Sean Kenny-Dowell yet. Here's Parcell. Good run from Matt Parcell. And that's the turnover. It was on the last, beg your pardon, maybe not such a good one.
No,
Massive effort, massive from London.
You've got to get that right, though. If you, on the last play, you've given up easy meters to London here.
Have London got anything left in the tank after a massive effort? Abdul. Here is Cunningham.
They've been really successful at scoring tries from kicks, but the kicks in the last 20 minutes haven't been good enough. Can they find a running player, as we saw with Brock Lamb earlier, to break through this defence? Here he goes.
Here is Lamb. Lamb trying to sell another dummy. He is a threat. They're about 30 metres out. It's Eddie Batty. Batty onto Jordan Abdul. Abdul to Walker. Now then, they've got the opportunity, but Kia couldn't take the pass. It went behind him.
Tremendous work from Danny Maguire, renowned for his try scoring, his attacking plays, but the work he does from the inside just gives the confidence to those edge defenders for Hull KR. Watch the number 7 in your picture. He's working, working, working. He'll be communicating to Ben Crooks saying, stay out, I've got the ball. And when the pass comes in, it's just behind Elliot Kia. And the nerves are jangling on both sides.
Nerves are jangling up here, I think. I can definitely hear some jangling. James Child, tell you what, he's kept his...
You don't need to repeat it,
calm.
okay? But you want to make an allegation of a racist remark. Okay, Danny, thanks, Sue. Thank you.
No,
Thanks,
then.
mate. Thanks.
Not sure which one it was, but someone made a racist remark
To Mossimo Sow. Okay, that incident will go on report, mate. All right.
That's interesting. Somebody has said something. And James Child has put whatever it was on report.
Okay, heads in. Let's set up. Nice and close. Wait, mate. Heads in, Matt. Matt, heads in. Okay.
So that's another strand to add to what has been an intriguing night.
High shot.
Okay.
High shot from G.
Inside, mate.
He was on short. Getting the speed then off the run. I think London now is starting just to look at the clock in front of them, know that they're running out of time. I think missed as well, G.
The Rovers supporters urging their side on in the closing minutes of this game. 5 minutes to go there, clinging on to a 2-point lead, looking for the try maybe that would set the score and settle the issue tonight. Here is Mossimo Masoi. Batty with the tackle. Daniel Murray now. Rovers edging their way forward. Here is Atkin, he seems to be everywhere at the moment. Maguire, Joel Tompkins back into the middle of the field. 4 tackles gone. Is Maguire going to pull out another trick from his bag? He's the dummy runner. That's the 5th tackle. Atkins slow to get to his feet, taking his time. Maguire trying to run it, loses possession. It's still alive, no. The referee says play on. They're keeping it alive to this near side. Daniel Murray almost through. That'll be the turnover. Daniel Murray thought it was opening up for him.
If he could just look over his right shoulder, I think Craig Hall was in support. At the ball in his left hand, look at Craig Hall, who works his way. He's pushing into that next hole.
Well, taking the chances, Barry, and running it on the last play. It's still not a bad place to turn that ball over, is it?
Matt G, the player in pain. The Rover supporters still
nervous, Bill. When they were over on the right-hand side, Bill, I thought that Matt Parcell might have just stepped out and kicked the ball off the field, just grubbing it off the field and got a scrum.
They are almost safe. London are almost down.
But not safe. They've got players like Kieran Dixon, Rhys Williams. The speed, we've seen them score length of the field tries. Kieran Dixon did it to win a game against Wigan earlier this year. They know they've got some quick enough players in this London outfit. They're trying to go wide here now with Abdul.
But Rovers keeping their defensive shape. Jay Pitts comes across to this side, looking for the speedster, looking for Dixon. Here is Ryan Morgan, and Morgan takes it on his own. Ryan Morgan has got Dixon in support. Morgan goes infield. Dixon was outside him.
What a tackle from Atkin.
They're still not out of the woods yet. Abdul across the field. Jordan Abdul. Abdul on his own. Jordan Abdul bumping off the players. There's 3 minutes left. The Rovers supporters screaming at their players to make the tackle. The ball's with Cunningham. Cunningham out to Dixon. Dixon will cut back in field, and he is brought down. And it's Mulhern making the tackle. Here is Cunningham now. Abdul onto Batty. Batty through the middle. That's the 5th tackle. What can they come up with here? They're running it. They've got the numbers. Have they got the try? They have. Jay Pitts has got that down, or has he? James Child hasn't awarded it. Ben Thaler is the video ref. James Child reckons it's a try. Jay Pitts and the London Broncos reckon it's a try. What does Ben Thaler think?
They had the numbers, and it was a good spot to go to the left, and Pitts, well, he's going for it. He's going for it. Does he get the ball down? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. They broke on the right-hand side. I thought Ryan Morgan, all they had to do was tip the ball on to Kieran Dixon. He didn't do it. They get a second chance, and Jay Pitts scores a try.
Jay Pitts, the London Broncos captain, leading from the front, getting his 7th try of the season. And Tony Smith impassive on the sidelines.
He looks at the clock though as Jay Pitts walks back. By the time this conversion goes over, I think we'll still have time for Hull KR to have another set of possession. The game isn't over, although Ryan Morgan made it look that way. He was nervous for London, cut through on the right-hand side, couldn't find his winger, took the tackle, and then the pass here, magnificent ball. They got the wide, they went from one side to the other, and finally came through. Brock Lamb soft pass to Jay Pitts. One of the best performers in 2019, might have just scored the best try of 2019.
Kieran Dixon, once a Hull Kingston Rovers player, had 2 years at this club. He scored 30 tries in 40 games, but he is getting absolutely no respect from these Hull Kingston Rovers supporters behind him. Urging this kick to go wide. Dixon has hoisted it and has got it over. Just.
Well, time off here now. So Hull KR will go short. It's hey boys, hey, we need this ball back. Get your tallest players over on whichever side you're going to kick it to, and look at those Hull KR and London fans. Wow.
You can't catch your breath, can you?
Do you know, the irony is we had the Super 8s and the Middle 8s and they wanted jeopardy and every minute counts. We've ditched that and look what we've got. Absolute drama to the final seconds of this game. The relegation decider, London. It's not the best restart, and it's into the arms of Alex Walker. They didn't go short enough.
No, well, all this is here now for London is just straight one-up carries, whether you're scooting from behind to play the ball. You don't need to be expansive. Simple low-risk plays.
Yeah, up the jumper time now. They've just got to hold on to possession.
Into the last minute of this game, and London at the moment are still alive in Super League. 1 round to go. They will go to Wakefield unless Hull Kingston Rovers can get this ball and do something with it in the last 30 seconds. It'll go down to the final round of games in the regular season. That Jay Pitts try seemingly setting the scene for an absolutely spellbinding final round of games next weekend. Danny Ward has looked so calm all evening, but his ticker must be absolutely motoring.
He's going through it just like Tony Smith is. I've never known a Super League competition since it started back in 1996 that's had as much drama as the top as there is the bottom.
What are we going to get here?
Anything.
Yeah, kick and chase, surely, is going to be. And Maguire is going to be at the heart of it, that is for certain. So Hull Kingston Rovers, last throw of the dice for them. Tompkins, Maguire, little run around. Here is Craig Hall. Hall trying to go on the outside of Elliot Keir. Last few seconds. It's with Maguire. Maguire will thump this one up high into the air, and Walker has lost it. It's gone forward, and the referee says that is it. And look at the jubilation from the London Broncos supporters and their players, and the calmness from their coach. This is Toronto all over again. They did it in the £1 million game last year. They've done it tonight at Hull Kingston Rovers. They are still alive in Super League. A remarkable performance from this London Broncos side, and Hull Kingston Rovers know that they are not home and dry yet. They have got to go to Salford knowing that there is still the spectre of relegation. This has been an absolutely astonishing night.
Incredible, the fight, the drama. That man, Danny Ward, has led his troops, and like I said before, that when he talks, you listen to what he's saying. You go out there, you're confident. And those London Broncos fans who've travelled from down south, they've come up to support their heroes, and they've given themselves a chance for one more week in Super League, where that'll be an entertaining game against Wakefield.